All right. I'm hoping that this didn't mess up in too turbo bad. I'm hoping that it started right back up. But if not, we'll figure that out. But now we're going to look at exploration, exploring phase of exploring the person, exploring the situation, and exploring the future, because it's very important that clients understand, that when you're working with them, that there may be times when they do not feel like they feel that their human worth. They don't feel or believe that they are valuable. And one of our core values is to respect and dignity of people. And sometimes we have to help to remind them, of who they are. So, exploration phase. Let's look at the first one. And I do believe it's on your PowerPoint, but it's also um, it's going to be on page. Well, it starts on page 307, and we're talking about exploring the issues, and it starts there. And this is where I kind of went over that before. What got you here? How? What is the problem? And you talk about, just get that information from your client. And then you look at exploring the person. This encourages your client to explore themselves as an individual, as a human being, because we do know that sometimes people have gone through some things, or communities may feel they don't feel validated, they don't feel important, they don't feel that they are valuable. And as a social worker, we have to see where they are. Do they recognize that they are somebody, and that despite that they are somebody, and they are not defined by whatever their problem is. That's a big difference. And sometimes as social workers, in order for us to even help clients to even get to a place of peace, or a place of healing, or to a place where they are better, we have to help them to explore the person who they are, or the person that they used to be, or the person with their brain, their mind, their cognitive is telling them. So we have to do some cognitive behavior changing of their how they see themselves. So that's going to be really, really important. Now, exploring the situation. That's examining the current and past circumstances. How you keep talking to, and I know that this may sound redundant to you all, but I promise it's not. When you get out in the field, you will start to be able to see this and put all this into practice. But it's important that you explore the situation with that client. Let them help you see. Remember at the beginning I said this was a collaborative effort, not just one-sided, because if it's just one-sided, you're not going to get anywhere. Okay? So remember, it's a collaborative effort. You have to explore the situation, you have to explore the person. And also, one of the things, if we are to provide a place of peace and instill hope, then guess what we have to do? Explore the future. Because sometimes we're working with clients and families who don't think there's a future. They think that they're right then is there forever. And we know that as social workers, that they're right then is not forever. But sometimes clients may feel that way because they've been there at that same place and they just can't get out of it. So you have to explore future. Well, what would it look like if you did this? Okay. Well, can you see yourself? You remember one time in class, I think I was asking students, do you see yourself being a social worker? Do you see yourself being a practitioner? Do you see yourself on graduation day? Do you see us coming back to class all together? Exploring what does the future look like, and examine those issues, the persons, and the situation, and how they would see it in the future. Or and let me just say something. And that it may not always be good, but that'll even give you a place to work from where they are. Okay, so clients need to be able to have that and see that. Okay, um, I think I pretty much on exploring the person. I want you to read on page 308 too. It really starts on 308, 309. But I want you to, on that exploring the person, that's how they're thinking, how they're feeling, how they're doing. Read over those exercises read over this chapter right here so you can have a good understanding. Um, and then, I was talking about a concept map. It's also like here on page 309, we're looking at a timeline. This timeline, it reflects, it's a shorthand fashion of what happened. Like, for example, like Monday, it's just a short visual, something that is often good for clients to help them see, especially the future or the past. And then one time I used to do timelines with women who have been victim of domestic violence, and we used to call it rocks and flowers, stones and flowers, and we would take those real hard times in life or experiences that they had, and then we would write them at the bottom. Those would be the rocks or those stony places or hard places, and then we would help explore some future things or some things that they did well, and we would make those flowers. And so that way the client could see that behind every storm or stone there was growth, there was something new. And I'm just thinking about this. Let's just put this COVID-19 in a timeline. Initially, all of us, including me, all of us were so afraid and didn't know how we're gonna go forward with remote learning. How are we gonna do this? Had no idea about videos. Had no idea about this. Had no idea. We had no idea. So we were all uncomfortable that, we didn't know how to do that. But look now, we're learning how we're Zooming. I've talked to some students who say, hey, yeah, Miss Neighbors, I kind of like this because I can put your video on pause and go back and read and take notes. You're learning how to use your computer a little bit more. And one of the things that I'm going to tell you that I have, and I'm going to make a proposal to the administration, I absolutely love how you are doing your videos, because with your classmates, sometimes we'll get a little more lax. But then when you're interviewing with your family, it puts you in a more real situation. And so I just think that it provided, so we've taken this pandemic and we've made some beautiful things, and some of us learned to grow through it. And that's what we really want our clients to be able to do. So that's on page, I want you to look on the bottom page of 309, and there are some guidelines for creating timelines. And they're simple, they're flexible, but I want you to know the basic components of timelines. You need to know that, and just kind of have some idea of what are some components of how to create a timeline. And because you'll use those, and it's really good to use when you're working with any family, but it's really important for you to know what they are. Look at that. That's on the bottom of page 309. It starts the last paragraph of that, and read that. Okay. Tools used in the exploring phase. There are certain tools. You have a timeline, which a table that reflects the important events, and then it can be, and it's done in a chronological order, and it can be from a designated time. Now, some timelines are, it could be some terrible timelines, some bad experience or some experience, but it is what it is. But they're able to look at it and see that. And then you have the genogram. That's a graphic representation of their family trees. I'm sure y'all have all done those by now. You just list the tree, and you can do a genogram. It just shows you the family connection, and they are wonderful for using when you're looking for resources and support within a family system. So, and then you have the eco maps, and that's a diagrammatic representation of the social content in which people live. What are all the resource systems available? So you can find that on, and then you can also find, if you're interested in your book, there's a website that you can explore how to create timelines. Okay, you can find all of that on page 310 in your book, and also it covers 312 about the eco maps. Now we're going to talk about on page 313 some risk factors, okay? Risk factors and protective factors. Risk factors are those factors that are in place that may prevent family from enhancing their well-being. Those are some things that may just be out there lurking that may create potential problems. Right? Their risk. There's a possibility that those factors that are in play could prevent that person from getting to a place of enhanced wellness or could cause a problem. And then your next thing are protective factors. Those are those things that people have, and we're going to explore these a little bit more. Risk factors, turn to with me on page 313 in your book. Risk factors are individual or environmental markers related to increase, that's what likelihood that a negative outcome will occur. Okay, get that. Risk factors. Let's think about the COVID. What are some risk factors? If you go outside your home without practicing social distancing, without wearing your mask or not, if you don't, those are risk factors. Because if you go out there and you're not equipped and dressed like you need to, or practicing social distance, then guess what happens? You increase the risk for you to get something. So risk factors says those are things that are out there in place that will produce a negative outcome if you stay there. Okay, and that could be individual or environmental. And then you have protective factors. Oh, I like protective factors. That's the individual or environmental safeguards, those things that keep you safe. It enhances a person's ability to resist stressful life events and risk. Okay? Those are those things where those are a little red light that said, no, you better not do that. Let me tell you, the protective capacity says, ooh, Miss Sheila, you don't want to eat any more of those pork rinds. You just had some yesterday, you had some earlier today, and you're getting ready to get. Those are those protective capacities in my cognitive that says, hey, you might need to hold back, because if you don't, you're going to increase your risk that you're going to have a negative outcome. But if you hold back and you listen to that, there's a possibility that your livelihood could be enhanced and you'll feel better. And it also promotes adaptation and competency. You can find that and look on page. That's on page 313 as well. Okay? Now we're going to go on. And then, so with all that said, now we talked about all these things. Now we're going to talk about looking for strength. Because social work is a strength-based profession. All people have the potential to change if they want to. All people have strength. And sometimes you have to look. It's almost like looking in a haystack for a needle in a haystack. Yeah, that's what I meant. Okay. And looking for strength, you also, it's important to let the clients help you look for strength, because it begins to make them feel good exploring themselves and who they are. Seeking to help clients identify and explore strengths through beliefs and their reality. So that's important, and that takes skills to do. It takes some skills to do, even if that means them just showing up. That they showed up for your appointment. That's a strength, because they didn't have to show up. It overlaps with the process of identifying protective and resilient factors. So it kind of overlaps with that process, because resiliency and protective factors are all kind of overlap with strength. So it's going to be important as social workers, that you're able to help clients to get there. Now, turn to page 316 in your book. There's a lot of information here on that. There's at the bottom page of your page, you can read a little bit more on looking for strength, and you gently, without denying or minimizing the client's reality. Now, you remember, we're not telling you to be dishonest, but you're not denying that this person may be an alcoholic. You're not denying that this person may be a drug addict. You're not denying that, and you're not minimizing, but you looking for those things that they are doing well, those strengths that you can find. They're there. They're there. We just have to make sure that you find them. And sometimes that may even be found in the protective factors. It may be found in, okay, yes, you've been to rehab, and you've been to rehab 3 times, but guess what? You come back. So you do want to change. So you just kind of continue to work with them from that angle. So what are some of the aspects of strength? If we look at that, looking for competencies, discovering useful traits and attributes. What are the things that they do well? I'm going to pause again.